This is from the South, teleSUR English's daily news show. My name is Reagan Devines. Venezuela's recently elected National Constituent Assembly has begun a series of meetings to decide a plan of action after the United States issued a new round of economic sanctions against the South American nation last week. Constituent Assembly President Delcy Rodriguez explained that the sanctions are an alternative to military intervention, which was met with rejection even from U.S. allied regional right-wing governments. 3 U.S. congressional members also criticized the sanctions, saying they served as a distraction and are indicative of President Trump's alignment with oil industry lobbyists.
Unas medidas, además, hay que decirlo, violatoria del derecho internacional público, violatoria de las normas que rigen el relacionamiento entre Estados soberanos e iguales. Bueno, de eso se trata justamente las posiciones imperiales. Actuar al margen del resto de la comunidad internacional, actuar al margen del entramado jurídico que debe regular.
Ecuador's Supreme Court is holding a hearing to analyze elements that could link Vice President Jorge Glass to the corruption investigations around the Odebrecht bribery scheme. The court will hear testimony and receive any alleged evidence in order for the country's Attorney General to formally charge Glass of any crimes. Glass is accused of alleged unlawful association as part of the corruption plot involving the Brazilian company Odebrecht, where it was discovered that top officials paid government authorities to secure construction deals in several countries in the world. In Colombia, the government has been holding talks with the country's second largest guerrilla group, the National Liberation Army, or ELN. An agreement of a bilateral and temporary ceasefire could be announced before Pope Francis arrives there next month. The Colombian government's negotiation chief, Juan Camilo Restrepo, told reporters that the parties are determined to, quote, take the first step towards peace by agreeing on a bilateral ceasefire. Thousands of demonstrators said no to police brutality during a march in Buenos Aires in Argentina on Monday. They demanded that the government release information on the whereabouts of missing detainee Santiago Maldonado, who had been reported missing since being in police custody last week. Among the protesters were relatives and friends of victims of police brutality who marched alongside human rights activists and members of social and political organizations. A group of armed men claiming to represent the country's indigenous Mapuche people hijacked and burned 29 logging trucks in southern Chile on Monday. The trucks belong to Sotracer, a subcontractor that mainly serves subsidiaries of Chilean forestry companies Empresas CMPC and Arauco. According to local authorities, at least 2 people were responsible for the arson attack, although local media reported that as many as 7 people were responsible. The Monday attack occurred in the region of Los Rios, south of the traditional conflict zone, and is part of an ongoing dispute over Chile's logging industry. Across the world now, South Korean fighter jets have conducted bombing drills at a military firing range. This came after North Korea fired a ballistic missile over Japan's northern Hokkaido island and into the sea early on Tuesday. The missile landed in the Pacific waters of the northern region of Hokkaido. US President Donald Trump has said that all options are on the table as the United States weighs its response. And President Trump has made his way to Texas as Houston struggles with heavy flooding. Trump was accompanied by the First Lady and headed to Corpus Christi to survey the response to devastating tropical storm Harvey. The storm has killed at least 9 people and over 8,000 others have been brought to shelters. A suicide bomber blew himself up at a bank close to the heavily protected US embassy in the Afghan capital of Kabul. The blast killed at least 5 people and wounded 8 others, according to the Interior Ministry. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for the attack. And finally, in sports, Ferns received a colourful welcome at Auckland's International Airport after arriving home as the World Rugby Union champions. The team received traditional Maori and Pacifica greetings from their fans, friends and families. The Black Ferns beat holders England 41-42 in a thrilling Women's World Cup final in Belfast on Saturday, making it the country's 5th World Cup title. There is more on these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English, and for updates on today's top stories, please join us on Twitter, Instagram and on Facebook. For TeleSUR English, I'm Regan Devines.